everyone. Welcome back to Drunken Debates. I am your host, John Burk. We are coming to you live. This is Friday night. First, I want to say thank you to all my panelists that are here with me tonight. Can you guys hear me?
Captain.
Yep.
Yes. Outstanding. Perfect. Good to hear. Good to hear. So the audio on the opposite end hopefully is coming through good. All right, welcome to Drunken Debates. All the panelists on here tonight, again, thank you for coming tonight. None of our panelists know the topics of today's debate or discussion. Nobody. You have my hand to God or Buddha, Allah, whichever entity you do or do not believe in. So all the panelists here tonight are going to be quizzed on current event topics that are currently going on in our national, if not international community. And again, like I said, no one has any forewarning of what's to come. So the way this is going to work is we're going to go around the horn here, if you will. You're going to introduce yourselves. You're going to tell a little bit about yourselves, and then we will get started with Drunken Debates. We're going to start with Rob Noor. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm the co-host of Drunken Debates, a friend of John's. I'm always honored to be here. Love doing Drunken Debates. You can find me on my Rumble channel at rumble.com/user/Normal America. Also on Twitch, YouTube at Rob Noor Normal America. Check it out. I consider myself a conservative populist, and looking forward to tonight's show. So thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. New to the panel, we've got Phil KOE. Phil, go ahead.
Thank you and welcome one and all to Drunken Debates. It is I, the man of the hour, the man with the power, the man that makes the other podcast cower, the prince and potentate of the political parlance, and one damn handsome man if I do say so myself. Your king of extreme, Phil KOE. You can find me, of course, at KOE Nation on YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch. That is K as in King. O as in oh my God. You can find KOE Nation on YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch. E as in extremely happy to know you can find KOE Nation on YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch. And I'm also going to send out a special thank you to Shell Shock CBD Gummies, the CBD gummies for you, for me, for any kind of need that you might have for CBD. Thank you very much, folks. I can't wait to get into the topics of the day with all of you beautiful people. And folks, these lips of mine, they can speak no evil. And with that, I yield back to you beautiful people.
Well, that wraps it up for tonight, folks. Yeah. Take care.
Good night, folks. Yes.
Yeah, very well done. Very well done. All right, Joe Lewis, over to you, sir.
Yeah, once again, thank you for having me. If you enjoy anything that I might say in the conversation, you can feel free to follow me on Twitter at Joe Lewis with 2 O's. And I'm also on Twitch, twitch.tv.com or .tv, / Joe Lewis with 2 O's. It's the same across all platforms. And feel free to send me a DM or something if you need clarification of something I may say tonight. But yeah, thanks for having me.
Joe is also a returning member. Prime K's, I think you've been on the program before a long time ago, that or maybe we shared a debate panel together. But if either way, welcome back. Thank you for being here, sir. Go ahead.
I've been on the program and we have shared a debate on other platforms. So
okay, yeah.
Anyway, it's nice to have you. Nice to meet you, excuse me. Not used to this on the side of things. And I always I try to put Phil KOE at the last when I introduce him, because he blows everyone else away, right? So I can't even try to compete with them.
I resemble that remark.
Anyway, yeah, no problem, friend. Twitch.tv/PrimeKai, PrimeCeys. I do debates like this all the time. In fact, I've had all these people on before, and we love to have you. Yeah.
Thank you. Up to you, Aircraft Sparky.
Yes, I'm Aircraft Sparky. I'm a constitutional, conservative, populist. You can find me at youtube.com/AircraftSparky, twitch.tv/AircraftSparky, and over at Rumble, same damn name, and on Twitter, AircraftSparky1 is my @ there. Give me a follow if you like what you hear. Give me a follow if you hate what you hear. It doesn't matter. I want to hear everyone's opinions, and yeah, we'll celebrate our commonalities while discussing our differences.
Appreciate it. And then I think this is your first time on the show as well, Stardust, I believe. So thanks for joining us tonight. Go ahead.
Thank you for having me. I'm Stardust. I do debates, I do panels, I cover drama, I do Pepe Sylvia tier drama breakdown charts. You will never get a drama breakdown chart from anybody like you'll get one from me. I also get some really exclusive content, especially when it comes to drama, because I keep my finger on the pulse. So if you like that kind of stuff, you can check me out. My link is links.fromstardust.net. Again, links.fromstardust.net. Thanks.
Okay. We're going to wrap that up. Now, here's how it's going to work, ladies and gentlemen. When I introduce the topic, I'm going to pick one of you. We're going to go around the horn. Each of you get roughly, we're going to say 1 minute. After I give you the topic, 1 minute to explain your stance on said topic. Basically, an intro. Once the last person has finished, we are going to open it up into drunken debates. Basically, raise your hand. I'll call on you. I will do my best to keep it in order. If I get out of order, please let me know immediately and I will correct that. Again, when you are giving, when we go into drunken debates, you're going to get roughly 2 to 3 minutes. When you see me kind of putting my hand up, please go ahead and wrap it up. That way we get everybody has ample time to speak. With that being said, once the round is finished, we're going to go for about 30 minutes. We're going to do closing statement. In your closing statement, you have 1 minute. In that statement, no pot shots at somebody else on the panel, meaning no engaging with them, no trying to answer a question, no trying to levy a question at them that they cannot answer. Please keep it about said topic by itself. I hope that makes sense. That's how we're going to go for about 3 to 4 rounds, or until we hit roughly 9:30. This is a 2-hour show. Do I have any questions from the panelists? Good to go. Outstanding. All right. So here we go. For the first topic of the evening, we're going to keep it pretty simple. With half of his 2020 supporters still saying they would vote for him, does President Biden's scandal of classified documents and the growing in coverage and severity make you think this could be a possible way for the DNC to usher Biden out and open it for a more stronger challenger in 2024? Now, if you do not agree with that statement whatsoever, that is fine as well. I'm not trying to make anybody feel alienated here or to show favoritism. This is an optic that I pulled from 2 different news sources on 2 different political sides. So I'm trying to keep these questions as fair and balanced as I can. So does anyone need me to repeat the question? All right, so we're going to go into opening statements. We are going to go ahead and start with Stardust. Being this is your first time on the show, you have 1 minute to basically voice where you stand on this. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll be the first one to say, if you don't know much about said topic, it's fine to admit that. It is perfectly fine. All right, Stardust, you have 1 minute. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I think my statements on this are going to be pretty brief. I don't think that this is a way for the DNC to get a new candidate in. I think that while it's somewhat of a deal, it's not like the biggest deal in the world. We've seen presidents get over bigger scandals. So
Okay, we're going to go ahead and move down to Prime. Prime, you have 1 minute, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think this is a huge scandal. I mean, I understand why people are comparing it to other things that happened in the past, but Biden seems to have come clean. He has addressed the situation, and and I'm not a big Biden fan, to be very clear. I'm not. I criticize the guy all the time. I just feel that this isn't the killer, especially not within the Democratic Party. So.
Okay, Aircraft Sparky, up to you. Go ahead.
I don't think that they're going to try to prevent him from running in 2024. I think what they're actually going to do is they are going to whisper in the ears of some people in Congress, try to get him impeached, pretend like, oh, there's nothing they can do because of the optics of everything that they did over the Trump classified scandal. I think they want him impeached. I think they want to usher in Kamala Harris because they want to bring in the first female president in the history. They want to break the glass ceiling by bringing an unelected person into that office.
Okay, Joe Lewis, down to you.
I think the only thing that's kind of going to hold back Joe Biden is honestly his ability to read and comprehend society and the world around him. I don't see a world where Democrats really care. I wish I was a bit more like I don't think maybe somebody will bring like a different perspective in this conversation. Insofar as I think the idea is that the DNC is looking to platform one piece of garbage with another piece of garbage. While it sounds attractive, but make no mistake, Kamala Harris is a piece of garbage. So I if they want to just continue being incompetent, then they'll just throw more trash at us. And that's their prerogative. Like, Black Americans are a captured electorate, so Democrats have a moral duty to treat Black people like garbage, and the only time they ever give a shit is when they need our vote, even though they technically don't need it. So I could give 2 shits what the DNC does. Fuck them, impeach his ass, whatever you want to do, have fun. They're all Republicans anyway, so who gives a shit?
We're gonna go over to Phil KOE, sir. You have 1 minute. Go ahead.
Well, I'm of 2 minds of this because folks were acting like the sky was going to fall upon our very heads when Trump's house was raided by the FBI over classified documents that we knew where they were. And regardless of what you think of any of it, negligence, which is what Biden was, he was negligent with national security information, is objectively worse no matter how you want to look at it. So, yes, he will be impeached. The House isn't going to convict, so it's going to be on his record. And I think he's going to push forward in 2024 anyways, because this is the other part that I'm of two minds about. The Democrats don't really have any big stars except for one, and they want to wait to pull out that Trump card because the big star, and it's not obvious that they would want to pull out, and that's why they're going to let Biden win or lose. And then after DeSantis has his 8 years, if that's who ends up winning, they're going to pull the Michelle Obama card because she will win.
All right, we're going to go ahead and go up to Rob. And after Rob is finished, I will let you all know we are going into open Drunken Debates. Also, panelists, please make sure that when you're giving your time and you give it your 2 minutes, if you see me going like this, that means you have 10 seconds left. I don't want to actually verbally interject and then throw you off your train of thought. So when you see my hand go up, 10 seconds. If that is ignored, and eventually I do have to break your train of thought, so be it. All right, Rob, you have 1 minute, sir, which actually leads into open debate. If you want to counter it, simply raise your hand and we'll call on you. Rob, go ahead.
There's a lot to say
Gotcha,
on
Brian.
the scandal itself, but on the fact of if there are people in the DNC that are going to use this to try to remove Biden, they will not convict him in impeachment. The House will move to impeach him. There is no way that you will have 2/3 of the Senate. It would require like 17 Democrats to convict, to impeach. They're not going to do it. What they're doing is just like they did with the Afghanistan withdrawal. They're trying to let Biden know that he better toe the party line or they will find a reason to get him out there. Even if they were ever going to vote to impeach, they would get in Biden's ear and he would step down before he would be impeached. But they don't want to get on record. The entire apparatus of the Democratic Party is about driving this sort of showmanship to enforce the establishment narrative, which means screwing over people of all faiths, all colors, all economic backgrounds. And so they are the establishment in the face of the establishment, along with some rhino conservatives that lead that party as well, the Republican Party. So what they'll try to do is to let this guy know, look, we have you, we have the goods, so you're going to toe the party line or we're going to force you out of here. They do want someone like Michelle Obama, I agree with that, or Gavin Newsom. That'll be the two people they pick. That'll either be 2024 or 2028. But yeah, there's a lot to say about this scandal. The real villain isn't Biden. The real villain is the corrupt FBI and the establishment.
Prime, over to you, sir. You've got 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Corrupt FBI. Oh wow. I mean, fuck the FBI, but it's interesting. Anyway, I think that like this idea of negligence, I think it's fair to say that Biden was negligent with the documents, right? And shouldn't have done that. It's unacceptable. These are classified documents; they should be treated as such, and I guess some sort of consequences should be levied against them. I'm okay with that. But let's not compare this to the Trump debacle. Let's not compare this to Trump taking those documents, but taking those documents and misappropriating them, and then when asked, right, kindly by the National Archives to hand them back, refusing to do so, right? If he had been anyone else, if he had been a regular person, right, with the intelligence community, he had just been in jail. He'd have just been in jail. Like, so let's understand that. He
I know, but he still knew where they were.
And lied about that.
Let him talk.
And lied about continues. And then we're still finding more finding other documents that weren't in the original document done. And there are just some that are still missing. So let's not say these are the same thing. There's something else I was going to say, but I'll leave it at that.
Over to you, Aircraft.
So it's very simple. And look, I don't blame you for not knowing this, Prime, or anyone else, because a lot of y'all don't deal with classified material. I actually do. I'm a courier and everything. The only people that can declassify is the originator of the classification, or the head of that department, or the president. So the vice president themselves do not have. No, you don't know that.
No, we do know that.
Hold on. On a whim, a president can go declassified, and it is declassified de facto. Nope. Just because you don't agree, my guy, that's not how this works.
He is right.
It is exactly how this works.
That's not how it works. No.
Okay,
you can't just say declassify within your head and then it's declassify.
According to the executive order Obama signed, you can.
Yes, he can. You don't have to like it, my man, but that is the fact, because the president of the United States, who happens to be the head of the diplomatic wing of America and the executive of it all, is the person who can declassify anything on a whim. He does not have to say it out loud. He just has to do it.
All right, we're going to kick it over to Rob, then down to Phil.
only that, but there's something greater to this. The biggest secret in the room that no one's talking about is almost everyone at that level, whether it be top generals, FBI people, top politicians, are mishandling classified information. And what this is it is set up to enforce a double standard by people in the establishment that want to get rid of people that don't toe the party line. What they did to Trump was unprecedented. We know, for example, that Bill Clinton kept tapes in his sock drawer. He wasn't raided. We know that Obama improperly used classified information. He wasn't raided. This all started because a guy that headed the NARA, the National Archivist Records Association, named David Ferriaro, who was a big anti-Trumper that said January 6th was the worst thing that ever happened. His claim is the day Trump left office, he saw a white box. They were carrying a white box, and damn it, he was getting to the bottom of it. How is it that the National Records Archive for 6.5 years didn't realize that these files of Joe Biden's were missing? Prime's argument that Biden did the right thing, bullshit. He moved these documents multiple times, including into his house. He covered it up. They knew about this before the midterm elections. They decided not to disclose it. And what happened was he worked with the DOJ and the FBI because there were people doing independent investigations into him, and they were worried that the House of Representatives is going to investigate him for his crimes with his son of selling foreign influence to our biggest adversaries, and that this information would come out. So they hid it until after the election, then said, oh, we did the right thing, we handed it over. And it's total bullshit. If they did the right thing and handed it over, why did they find documents in October, then in December, then in January, then the day that the special counsel was announced? If they looked and found all this stuff and cooperated totally, why didn't they do that? I will not feel comfortable until the FBI raids Jill Biden's underwear drawer. I was told by Joe Biden and the Democrats that nuclear secrets could be in the underwear drawer of Melania Trump, and therefore we needed to go in there and raid them and lay them all out for a nice photo op and have leaks to the press. Why isn't the FBI raiding Joe Biden's place? And it's people like Prime that encourage this double standard that allow this corruption to go, is why the establishment corruption will make sure that actual progressive candidates that could come through the Democratic Party, like someone like a Jill Stein, will always be labeled as pro-Russia or corrupt because you cheer for these corrupt institutions.
All right, we're going to kick it down to, hold on, we're going to kick it over to Phil, then Joe, then Prime. Phil, you go ahead.
Rebel! Oh, wait, sorry. But no, like, Prime, I understand everything you said about Donald Trump. Even if I grant every single thing to you, which I don't, but if I were to grant every single thing to you, still, what Joe Biden did was objectively, measurably, by no objective standard otherwise, was objectively worse. Because he was negligent with our national security secrets. Negligent. And it was in the home that Hunter Biden lists as the same residence. And so did Hunter Biden have access to these documents? Did he, through some malfeasance, sell them? There's a non-zero chance that that could have actually happened, whether we think it did or not. It is a non-zero chance. And we now all have to realize, okay, did Hunter have access to them? What did he do with them? Why did he have access? That is very real. And so what started, unfortunately, it was the Democrats that did kind of make a rod for their own backs at this point when they did the Banana Republic shit of actually going about and sending the FBI to raid the sitting president's political opposition. That's the kind of stuff that goes down in Banana Republics and Soviet spin-off states in the 80s and 90s, okay? The fact that that's happening in America is appalling, and I really, really hope that the Republic survives it. And with that, I yield back the balance of my time.
Joe Lewis, over to you, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess it's Dog Prime because I'm gonna join the wagon as well. I'm gonna join the wagon for different reasons though.
I love you
because like here's the thing.
Stardust.
Here's the thing, Prime. I'm really disappointed in you, man. This was a perfect opportunity to just shit on Democrats for about 30 minutes. I was down for that. I was down for that conversation. I was down. Listen, there's some conspiracy theory that like the human, like, there was just some conspiracy theory that it seems like Barack Obama's wife is gonna run. I want to hear that argument because it's like I just want to hear what that sounds like and what that looks like. Because like I'm just a little bit curious about that. Then there was some shit about Gavin Newsom. I want to hear some shit about that because make no mistake, there's something that I love more, and there's very few things I love more in life, and one of those things that I love more than life itself is Republican conspiracy theories about dog shit Democrat candidates, and I just want to hear them out. but now we to go on this like Trump good or bad thing. So I'm mad at you for Prime for that. You piece of shit for that.
All right, Prime, over to you, sir.
Okay, all right. I love all the attention. I'm an attention whore, so this works out for me. Thanks so much. But
All right, we're gonna go ahead and move past Prime onto the. No, I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding. Go
Son
ahead,
of a
sir.
biscuit.
Okay, so I just looked it up because you can just look this up, right? And there's a news article here from NBC New York. Though I'm willing to look at other news articles as well. This is just the first one I found. It says the declassification order must be memorialized, and any agencies that are affected have to be notified. The person saying this says the individual documents then have to be remarked to show they're no longer classified. It's not clear what Jedi-like lawyers said they could declassify things with a thought, but the courts are unlikely to embrace them. There, right there. Evidence to my case. All right, so moving on, because that was obvious. Moving on, though, I agree that the negligence is bad. There's no argument here with me, and I'm not a Biden defender. So, yeah, if you want to put consequences on Biden, I'm okay, right? I'm just saying that Trump was clearly doing, well, what I guess I consider it worse, but it doesn't actually really matter. Like, I guess it's not really worth an argument. If you want to say that what Biden did was worse, all right, whatever. It just doesn't matter to me, right? Both were wrong, and both in different reasons. So I guess I can accept that. Whatever, it doesn't matter. And Trump made it illegal to mishandle illegal documents, right? Right? He made it a felony to do so. So, okay, then Trump should also face the consequences. If Biden faces the consequences, I'm okay with that. I think Trump should do so as well. And I've had a whole bunch of... Oh, also, last thing. This is what I was going to say before. We should impeach presidents. I'm all for that. Let's do it more. Impeach presidents. I'm all about that. We should... like, I like how they do things in the UK, in which they constantly are, like, recalling prime ministers. Do that. All presidents should have that hanging over their head. And we should raid their houses more. Absolutely. Because a lot of them are do criminal activity. Done.
All right, we're gonna go up to Stardust. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say there was an executive order that was signed by Obama that authorized the vice president to classify and declassify documents, and I do believe that nobody
That's Sparky.
nobody
right.
has issued an executive order with new rules yet. So that's all I was going to add to this. But hey, I want to also add that I also would love to hear about Michelle Obama running for president because that sounds hilarious. So
Okay. All right, over to Rob for 2 minutes. Then we'll go to Sparky. Then it goes to Phil. Then to Prime.
So to talk about these conspiracy theories, what Joe calls conspiracy theories, what the rest of us call right 2 years before everyone else. I can't tell you how many times I've been called a conspiracy theorist about COVID, about Russiagate, about the Mar-a-Lago raid and all this stuff. And I'm right 98% of the time. So I welcome the term. At this point, it's a badge of honor to be called a conspiracy theorist. Not that difficult to see that they need personalities that are charismatic. And even though I don't like Michelle Obama or Gavin Newsom, both of those are people that are in the national spotlight and people would be intrigued because they're great public speakers and they have a ton of charisma. It's obvious with Newsom. I don't even know how you would question it. Every speech he gives is questioning Ron DeSantis. What the hell does that have to do with California? Because he knows that eventually it's going to be him versus Ron DeSantis for president. If not in 2024, then 2028. That's what he's counting on. So I don't think it's a big conspiracy. As far as the declassification, I'll leave Phil and Aircraft talk about the authorities of Biden or Trump to do this. What I'm telling you is, and no one will be able to respond because they know it's eminently true, in fact that they went to a grand jury to go after Trump in January 2020, a few days after he left office, continued to accuse him of a crime of mishandling classified information before he obstructed justice and lied. And then the entire time did things like send people into the house to look at it, said everything's okay, put a lockup, had conversations with his lawyers, but continued to go to grand jury and then eventually raided his home. That is completely different than any time they've ever done that for anyone else, especially pro-establishment Democratic candidates like Joe Biden, even in the disparate treatment we see now. And if you don't think that there's a problem, I get so infuriated when people are like, then fine, do whatever to Biden. I don't give a shit. You really don't care about that. The problem's not Donald Trump or Joe Biden. The problem is that we have an establishment system that will use unverified opposition to spy on candidates they don't like, that will raid the home of candidates and presidents they don't like. And as long as they're putting their thumb on the scale and censoring people that are saying information with social media that they don't like, that means that we don't really have the democracy or republic that people want to talk about, and that we'll never get any candidates for the Republican, Democrat, or third party that will be able to do anything to end this corruption. And it's appalling to me to see how it's continually excused. Oh, well, I guess I don't really care. You should care. It's not about raiding presidents. It's about raiding the damn FBI and the establishment that enacts this corruption over and over again.
Can I
Okay,
respond
down
to that?
Phil
Preach
KO.
it.
Hold on, we got to go to Phil, then we got to go to Prime, then we can go back to Joe.
Damn.
Phil, go ahead.
Okay, first of all,
Oh, Sparky, I got you. Sorry.
first of all, Rob, when nowadays the joke is conspiracy theories, you should really just call them spoiler alerts. With as often as they're getting proved these days. Now, the Obama executive order that people are talking about, like I could get deeper into that, but like I would have to find the text. And Rob's right. Like, let's not pretend like this particular president was not treated in a very unique fashion because he wasn't part of the political class. Like I always say, Marxists they're half right when they say that we all live in a class struggle, but they're half wrong in that their enemy isn't the bourgeoisie, it's the political class that uses these different institutions to beat us over the head with day in, day out. But now people are wondering, Michelle Obama. I brought this up because whether you like it or not, if you look at the polling numbers,
I'm so ready
Michelle
for this.
Obama is tremendously popular amongst the right groups, and that's their ace in the hole that they're waiting for that right moment. They're not going to put her up against Ron DeSantis. That's not the right matchup. But whether we like it or not, like Joe Biden got into office on the Obama rub. Whether I agreed with him or not, Obama was a tremendously popular president. And whether we like it or not, popularity matters because the presidency, House, Senate, all of them, they're popularity contests at the end of the day. So Michelle Obama, whether I like it, you like it, any of us like it or not, if she runs without a strong Republican candidate to oppose her, and there's only a handful on the Republican side, and there's even precious less on the Democrat side, she's going to win. So brace for impact on that one, folks.
All right, we're going to kick it back over to Prime. Then I'm sorry, it goes from Prime, Sparky, then down to Joe. Prime, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I think this talk about Michelle Obama is interesting. I mean, like it's not the subject at hand, but I guess I laughed out loud when you said it. But like I'm thinking of it as a leftist, not as like a liberal.
Fucker.
I mean,
Prime, just say it. Fucker.
no,
Fuck it.
I'm not a fan. I am not a fan
Die
of
on
the
the hill.
Obamas. No, fuck them all. No, fuck them all.
But
and
especially
investigate-
fuck her.
and and investigate
I'm not- hold
Barack
on,
Obama
before
for
that.
war crimes. That's like I said, like everyone should be impeached. I'm all for that. Let that threat hang over every single one of them. I love it. But
Like a
I think
sword
that's
of Damocles.
exactly. But I think that's a like a interesting like look at things, right? For 2024. But like I just very much doubt it. Just like everything that she has said, and it could be a lie, but like everything she has said says that she doesn't want to run for president. People have approached her before many times to ask her to run for president. She seems to have absolutely no interest in running for public office. So I kind of just take her at her word for this. Gavin Newsom is a political animal. He definitely wants to run for office. So I think that's
He sucks too. He's worse.
Yeah, like he's. I think he's going to have an uphill challenge when people look at his record. But yeah,
Look at his record of fucking over Californians. He like,
yeah.
I mean, not to cut you off, Prime, but I'm sorry. Like, as much as I like Gavin, like, we'll start with DeSantis, right? DeSantis fucks. This man clearly fucks. Like, no raw dog, no condom. But Gavin Newsom is one of those savages. He puts his thumb in your ass. Like, this man is a piece of shit. So
All right, we gotta kick it up
Sorry,
to
sorry,
Aircraft
sorry.
Sparky. Aircraft, you got, and then we're gonna come back to Joe. Aircraft, you got 2 minutes. Go ahead.
All right. So the EO
Oh,
that Stardust was referring to was EO 13526. It did give Joe Biden as vice president some declassification and classification powers. It was for projects and stuff that he was directly working with, things like Iraq, in which he used nepotism to get his brother all kinds of nice little contracts over there, while we sent our men and women over there to fight wars for these corporations and everything, and not for actual freedom, because screw the actual American people. It's all about making money on the backside. And look, I actually like the idea of seeing Michelle running for president. I would love to call the new Zer president Mike. Let's go.
I'll go real
All
quick.
right. Oh, hold on. We got to go to Joe Lewis and we got to go to Rob, and then then we got to go into closing statements. Joe, go ahead. Sir.
Closing
The clock is
statements.
yours.
Okay.
No, not yet. You have 2 minutes.
So
Can I have a request? If Joe's going to keep talking about the things he was talking about, can we get some porno music in the
I
background?
really want to shit on Democrats. I really want to shit on Democrats.
Joe,
Listen, man. I'm not in California. I'm not in Florida. I mean, you got these two men are pieces of shit. They got to take people out to dinner if they're going to town on people like this. I'm just gonna kind of be honest about it. I don't see what Republicans are gonna do when it comes to a presidential candidate. I don't think they're going to have to do a lot of PR and image control when it comes to Donald Trump, and Democrats have no choice but Joe Biden, and it's very unfortunate because he treats black people like garbage, and it's an unfortunate state of affairs. And also, just to be clear, I don't think we're going to see DeSantis until at least 2028. I think he's not done with Florida. I think Florida puts him in a very interesting situation where I think any other governor would love to just like have that type of political power. So I think he's going to yield that until through his second term. That way he gets term limited out, and that way he is like free to do whatever he wants to do in 2027 to 2028. I think that if DeSantis does run, it's a political landmine. I don't know like if he would even want to do that. I think he's too valuable for Republican Floridians. And just to make sure people understand why I'm saying that is that Florida has run to resign. So if he were to run the president, he would have to resign. And I don't think he's ready to do that quite yet. So I think he's going to ride out his full term. Gavin Newsom is going to try to be relevant, which is not going to work. I mean, I was down for like Pete Buttigieg. That seems like a very logical conclusion for Democrats. He's just shitty enough where he might get some people to vote for him. But again, like I think long-term Republicans got to figure out something they put up to the table. Like at this point, like I don't know who they're going to put up, but I don't think Trump is the answer. That's just me personally, though.
Okay, we're going to kick it over to Rob, and then we're going to go into closing statements. Rob, you have 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay. Just to say to Prime real quick, look, the fact that Michelle's saying no, Paul Ryan said he wasn't going to run for Speaker of the House. He did. It's something that people will find appealing. The appeal of Michelle Obama is that she's an insider without being an insider, right? She seems like sort of a charismatic. Again, I don't like Michelle Obama at all, but she's a hell of a speaker. She's an intelligent person, and she has this the good parts of being a politician from being adjacent without the bad, I'm, an insider. So I'm not surprised even if she plans on running, she's saying she's not. To speak to what Joe said there, I'll get to my final statements when we do it, but to talk about what Joe said, he's not wrong. There's going to be a lot of difficulties with the Republicans. The problem is there are a lot of Trump supporters that will be, if not Trump, then no one. I'm not going to vote for DeSantis or someone else. And there's a lot of Republicans that are going to be, I won't vote for Trump no matter what. And so it's going to be fine. It's interesting to see how they square that circle. Also, until the Republicans learn to do things like ballot harvest and stop places like the FBI and other establishment places that are doing the mass censorship and mass control of the flow of information. Phil said it earlier, I think before we came on the air, the 2020 election was decided by 40,000 votes in a couple of swing states. We now know that these establishments were going all in, censoring the only platforms where conservatives actually have a voice, because they don't really have much in the mainstream media. They don't have it in the entertainment industry. They don't really have it in corporate America. They don't really have it in academia. So the one place they were going was social media, and now we know that their free speech was being censored by government institutions. Chuck Schumer told us when Donald Trump won the inauguration that he was stupid to criticize the establishment in places like the FBI because they'd find 6 ways from Sunday getting back at him. They started a corrupt coup against him using actual Russian spies, disinformation to spy on Trump and his team, which they continued for 4 years. They raided his home. They go after anyone. They even went after people like Jill Stein. They went after Bernie Sanders. They'll go after anyone that's considered potentially outsider. And if we don't change it, it'll happen in perpetuity.
All right, that concludes this round of debate. We're going to go around the horn. Panelists, you have 1 minute to add your closing statements. I must remind you, please, no responses to anybody else's points on the panel. Keep it strictly to your own. We're going to start with you, Aircraft Sparky. You have 1 minute. Go ahead.
Outstanding. Look, when it comes down to it, mishandling the classified materials and stuff, there's actual laws out there. They need to be followed. When it comes to who had it more secure, look, in this case, it definitely was Trump. It was with the FBI's locks and all these other things where we had the former Secretary of State. She had a classified server in an unsecure area. We had Joe Biden with his drug-addled son supposedly staying in the exact same place in a garage, hold of these materials. Which one's worse? You be the judge. Look, Big Mike 2024, let's go. And yeah, Trump is a hand grenade waiting to go off. He went against he actually called for suspending the Constitution over a personal vendetta, and I can't agree with that. And because of that, he's lost my support. And you should consider those things when you're looking at who you're going to vote for.
Kick it over to Stardust. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Biden's done a really excellent job so far. As our president, he has passed so many things historically, more than I think a lot of presidents prior to him. So I think he's in a really good place. I think he'll probably overcome the scandal around around the classified documents. I don't know about Michelle Obama running. I don't know that I am buying that because I think she doesn't have really the political experience for it. So, and she hasn't been padding her resume either. So
All right, we're gonna kick it down to Joe Lewis. Sir, go ahead.
Man, I'm just showing Democrats more. It's fun. The
I
only
hate you.
person that I
Why,
think
Joe?
the only like my thing is when it comes to people running, right? I think you need one of two things. You need to have money or a movement. And while Donald Trump does have a movement, I don't think running is a viable option for him. I think he's much more powerful as somebody who can actually like levy support towards a candidate. Like for example, I think Winsome Sears could be a fantastic, I'm saying fantastic for Republicans, senator for Virginia. I think that's a very logical step for her to do that, and that could lead her to being a quality candidate down the road. Because make no mistake, you know, Glenn Youngkin, once he's done lying to Virginians, he's going to start eyeing Republican stuff, and nobody wants that. Nobody really wants Glenn Youngkin. But the fact of the matter is, it's like the classified thing doesn't really interest me all that much. It's really funny to see people debate it, though. It's very cool. But I am very interested in seeing what Democrats and Republicans do in terms of presidential candidates. So I think it's a very interesting predicament they both parties have right now.
All right, Prime, over to you. Go ahead.
Okay, classified stuff interests me. All right, Ivanka had an email server in her house that classified documents went over. Like she did that as well, right? And that happened, and Republicans kind of memory hold that. Interesting. Trump had some of those stolen documents in like a garage type area that was accessible to members of Mar-a-Lago. Like, yeah, it was super secure. Okay, whatever. And then there was a court decision on classification. So, and this is from a different source. The U.S. Second Court of Appeals wrote in 2020 decision about whether statements made by then President Trump declassified the existence of a CIA program that declassification, even by the president, must follow established procedures. That's a quote. Yeah. So this has already been ruled. It's already been adjudicated. So just putting that out there. Don't listen to that kind of hype. You absolutely should have to follow procedures. That being said, I don't think there's actually any like punishment for not. So, you know, maybe they don't have to. Whatever.
All right, we're gonna kick it over to Rob. Go ahead.
Again, I'm unconcerned with it. We could go for hours about the differences between Trump and them. Just suffice it to say, no one really responded. That everyone knows. Phil Mudd of the CIA, when Trump got raided, was on TV saying, "Look, the truth is, everyone at high levels mishandles classified information." It's just like the terms of service in places like Twitter and YouTube. They set it up so it's so vague that everyone violates it, and then they decide to selectively enforce. This should outrage every American. Look, no one deserves it more than Joe Biden. He said when Trump was potentially mishandling classified that it was irresponsible and lives were being jeopardized. Now we know his crackhead son was driving his Corvette right beside these classified info that had to do with China and Ukraine. By the way, that his crackhead son was getting millions of dollars, giving 10% to the big guy for. So we know that's happening, and Joe Biden's like, I have no regrets about what I did. It's nonsense. I just want to say real quick to go after this, Biden's been terrible. He's had open borders. He's had the 10% to the big guy, devastating economy, on the verge of World War III, COVID deaths that were worse in the same amount of time than Trump. And what are they going after him for? This. Just like when they took Cuomo down, it was for ass pinching, not for the fact that he killed how many people in nursing homes and then covered up how many people died. That's the exact same shit that's going on here.
Down to you, Phil KO. Go ahead.
So, at the end of the day, no matter how you want to look at it with the document thing, Donald Trump knew where all the documents were. Joe didn't. That's still objectively worse at the end of the day, and it's unfortunate. Now, folks, the thing is, Joe isn't going to be removed from this for the very simple reason that the Democrats don't have enough star power to actually do anything. You got Gavin Newsom, who he always gives off that Patrick Bateman, Joel Austin of the left vibe. You've got Pete Buttigieg that's got the charisma of yogurt. So, unfortunately, it's just not going to happen. They
Yogurt's
can't
very
remove him.
charismatic.
They can't remove him because they don't have anybody else with star power except Michelle, and they got to save her for when they really need her. So, folks, that you're not going to see anything like that. And also, one last note is, yes, Rob, it was 44,000 votes in Arizona, Georgia, and Wisconsin that separated Donald Trump and being the president. So, people who think he ain't got a chance, boy, howdy, you better vote Phil KOE otherwise. So, folks, I yield the rest of my time.
Well, you went overtime, so there would be a new yielding. So, folks, go ahead and take a 3-minute break, panelists, and then we're going to begin round 2 of Drunken Debates. And while you're gone,